Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, on this very, very fine Sunday evening, as we have Premiership action for you tonight. It is Highlander on very interesting maps, actually, as we have week 4, so it's the multimate, weird word, week before, like it's almost the last week. That's what I want to tell you of the of the official season. That is. So we're actually heading, close to the end, and these teams, they are hungry for points because they have to be, because otherwise they won't be in the playoffs. As we have shorter seasons these days, only consisting of 5 weeks. As we have open squad against WASP, which are the third place and fourth place respectively. So, as I was saying, this is a very interesting match, and it's also a very important one, as we have it going down on Gullywash, 5CP Highlander map. That will be interesting, and Koff Warmtick after that one. With me tonight on the camera is Foppish, again, the guy catching all the action with this big camera carrying in the background, and a new voice for you to get comfortable with and to listen to, because my co-caster for tonight will be Gamma. Good evening.
Good evening, Domaytoe. I hope my lovely Irish tones can soothe people on this calm Sunday.
Definitely. I think our I don't know how much accent like Irish people have, but definitely will cancel out my I don't know, ear bleeding German accent, so I think we're alright. Gamma, do you like Gullywash more than Process, and why should 5CP be removed in general from Highlander? That's your first question.
Here's the thing, right? I'm one of those people who actually think 5CP should stay in Highlander, just for the variety, if nothing else. Gully is definitely better for Highlander than Process because it's less slow. The second points are harder to hold in general, I think. But there is no doubt that it's definitely going to be a bit stalematey. That's not always the most fun to play, but sometimes it can lead to some massive plays from both teams, which I hope I can see.
And to be quite fair, I mean, I never bash maps or game modes per se. I always think that, especially in 5CP, it's team's fault if they play like this, because you can play a Highlander quite fast paced, like 5CP that is. Just knowing that a bit from experience and just having like seen how teams play, and especially since we have a almost full Russian team with a Norwegian guy on Spy. So Russians tend to play kind of, you know how it is, Gamma? They kind of go full Davai constantly.
Of course. Davai always. And there's definitely a few very aggressive players on their team looking to make use of any space they can get. As you say, Vetli on Spy. I'll be looking forward to some big plays from him, carrying his Russian brothers.
Yeah, well, to be quite fair, this is like you literally sugar-coated one player of one team or one team already. So it is prediction time. It is we just begin a bit softly, a bit slow. What team, like not the score, but what team are you going for in this one?
It's a bit difficult to say because it's going to be over both maps. I think WASP will take Warmtick personally. But I don't know. I think Open Squad might be able to put up a good fight here on Gullywash. But you know what? I'm gonna be divisive, and I'm gonna say Wasp for both maps.
Oh, that's really good. Wow, Airpipe in pregame there, but threw me off there. By Clark actually, by Engineer of the Season. No, Gamma, I really like that, because this is already a good start, because usually people just talk about, wow, like 30 minutes, how they don't want to pick a side because they don't, like if you pick a side, then maybe some players can trash you in the aftermath, but that's good. You picked a side. I like decisions, so I'm going with, wait, you went with Wasp, right?
I went with Wasp, yeah, for both maps.
Then I go with Open Squad. We don't have every player on the server already, but we have some pre-game information for this, which will make this entire thing a bit more interesting, as the almighty Wiethoofd told me that there is actually a bet on the line for this map, because both heavies agreed that the one who wins tonight receives a golden Tomislav by the heavy that loses.
Ooh.
So there is literally more at stake than the prize pool for like any Highlander season tonight in one game.
That's really quite something. Can I play heavy for one of them? I'd really like one. I'd get
Yeah.
carried to hell, but hey, at least I'd have
know,
shiny
man.
weapons.
Who's your favorite heavy of these two? Tell me right now.
Ooh,
I have to force you into more decisions.
more decisions. I'm gonna have to call out more people. What is this? I'm gonna go with Pozker, actually. Maybe not what everyone would say, but I think he fits in very well with how Open Squad play.
Yeah.
And I think he'll do some, if you pardon the pun, heavy work tonight.
Well, I mean, I would have gone for Catman either way because I don't know. I just love it's the Catman factor. You know, you can't always count in the Catman factor. The main issue is it can swing both ways, and you don't really know before if it's a burden or if it's burden to the enemy team. But we actually also, as you pointed that out, we have a Merc coming in tonight. Actually, I think they all have their full roster except for Open Squad, who we actually have our big MVMer and trader man without an Australian pen, as far as I know, as my last information go, which is on Medic CJ for Open Squad. That is. So just a little shout out as the caster colleague, but I don't think this will affect this so much, as we have 90 seconds to go. So we probably have the roster. So you go down, Gamma, with your roster, and you just quickly say why you think these people will absolutely slay on their classes.
Ooh, of course. So Open Squad, we've got Sukaz and Justice, Sterno8, Murphy, Pozker, as I said, Mason on Engineer. We have good old CJ on Medic, Birdie and Mezzo for Open Squad. And then Lightclaw, DQZ, Skatus, Clark, Wiethoofd, Catman, Sprayer, Morg, and Vetley as we go live.
Nice, good roster. I know that I like that. Efficient. Let's see how efficient these demos are actually. Murphy is going for the choke rollout and he's really slow. Wiethoofd as well. I think they're actually kind of on par. I think Murphy was a slight bit faster there, but they're all so slow that actually nothing happens so far. Early PO to Murphy, but nothing happens. Like really big jump in there from Justice. Can't get anything, but there we go. Birdie actually opens up onto Lightclaw, but then Birdie gets fragged and Mezzo also goes down, so the pick advantage currently going in on the side of the Russians. They just go aggressive here and they scare them out as CJ gets headshot. So,
massive shot.
Yeah, definitely insane. They basically won this. Only Stickers should get cleaned up, but there we go. Kind of decisive mid-fight there won. Why did they win this like so decisively, Gamma?
Well, the first bit of aggression coming out from Open Squad was the Bond and Justice, and he got absolutely denied from everyone in the combo for WASP. And ever since then, Open Squad tried to get aggressive with their combo, and they just got picked off one by one. As they start to come in through, or WASP start to come in through Big Door now, they pick up Murphy, who's completely isolated with no one around him.
I really like the rotation. Like, not so many teams rotate through Big Door. Catman gets picked off there, but Mezzo is also down. Like, there's still 3 players down from Open Squad. Birdie backed out of River. Maybe they could have been a bit more aggressive and cut him off, but I mean, now it's 50% advantage, you know? Like, they can make this work. They're only missing Catman, and there are still 2 players down, which is a Pyro. Involves a Pyro. I don't think they will be quick enough to push, so I think they will try, though, from River, as they are working their way in right now.
Yeah, it's this entry spot coming out from Mason doesn't completely cover the point, but maybe they won't see it if they push in from River. They look to be getting aggressive. It's a good strategy. I like it. I'm not knocking it. As WASP come in here now, they see the sentry. No one sees the sentry. No one firing at it. As everyone's starting to walk in, but they're getting pressure on the point. Pyro on the point. No one contesting him really. Uber comes out a bit too late. That's going to be Pyro cap.
A bit too late. That was way too nice. That was absolutely garbage. I don't know why they all backed into spawn there. Like, I really liked the initial WASP push because they pushed into a Pyro, but you know, with Lightclaw, basically 2-shot meat-shot the Pyro down. But then they got disconnected, and Strono literally walked on the point, like from the front, you know, and they all backed into spawn. So they can't deny that they got the Uber, but way too late. As second mid-fight now, both demos are still equal. They're both focusing Victor, but there we go. Lightclaw goes down again, and Gerati onto Murphy. These are basically similar to the mid-fight before, but nothing really happening here, Gamma. They are so passive in their chokes.
There's a lot of spam exchange coming out, just seeing what anyone can pick up. But it looks like WASP are getting forced back in with a little bit of spam war coming out from Murphy. A lot of people going down here now, just a random flanks and picks, including crucially Sprayer, and all of WASP are just starting to die here. And this is going to be a good mid-fight win for Open Squad.
I just looked at the heavy fight. Poker there, battled Catman. They both have golden Tommy's love guns. So what is the split even about? I don't know. But Poker won that one, and Spray actually went down in that, so full Uber advantage there for CJ as they're working their way into second, and Wasp don't actually feel content with contesting this. The flank is still in big door. I'm not quite sure, but they're holding their passive, so they're just nudging here and not really risking anything, even though Lightclaw was a bit too much in there for my likings. He backs out now though, as Mezzo goes down again. I feel like Pictars are not doing that much spice specifically so far. Open squad just take River here, but there's a sniper watching that. Morg does back out though, he knows that he can shoot heads like around 5 corners with his internet, so it's fine for him, he can just stay in this position.
If Open Squad aren't quick here, Spear's actually going to get his Uber. He's built it fairly fast. They're going under with this Uber actually, possibly. Oh, the sticky trap got them. Dito drops CJ, and people are just going down all over the place. Only 4 left up for Open Squad as Murphy gets forced back out of River. Wasp can maybe think about getting forward, but they're just not really Uber forced.
That's a classical Sprayer probably got forced by a soldier without rockets in the air. That's a classical Sprayer, but I guess they can do this because that's quite on par. But you know, Gamma, the main issue is if you push out, something can happen, like really weird stuff. If you try to push out and you're too slow, that you can get picked off here. It's a bit equal here right now. They do get the second cap though.
Open Squad are very far forward in this big door area. They have the advantage. They lose poker, and that's gonna pretty much nullify any attempt of theirs to get in aggressive through big door.
I really wanted to.
Oh, wow. That nice stab from Vetley gets to Birdie and Sternate, and now that'll cue Wasp to push in with that conch through big door. Tito jumps right onto the point. He's not getting contested.
He was quite Sukas, I don't know, we could have maybe committed a bit there, but the thing is, all the rest of the Wasp players came in there. Ubers are still equal, but you know, Wasp kind of dry pushed a midpoint, which is really good because you want to like have this aggression kind of down. You don't only have to rely on the Uber as they're really close in this pick, or not getting anything really early. Jarati there to Justice, he should go down quite easily. As
Force gets used.
They do lose a lot of players in that though. Spare still has the Uber, but they lost their players. Now they're behind them in choke. I don't know how much they make it work here with a Pyro. You see? Rotation.
Just based on how much Sterno can deny. Dito trying so hard to get CJ. Can't really get any significant damage on him. And it looks like Wasp have maybe failed this dry push, but no, Sprayer all alone looking for the saws. No one left alone with, or no one left with him. It's Wasp just trying to put some spam out, but they're not going to get back into this point.
Metal is going in and Captain outside. They can get sandwiched here. He goes for the Pyro and stabs him in the eye. Well, maybe he could have gone for the medic. I'm not sure if I agree with this play. Oh, CJ died anyway. Did you see where it died? Right? Didn't see
that was just everyone looking at Vetley, and Catman walked right across the point with that lovely golden gun of his and just gunned them all down. Got a 2k out of that, I believe. So between Vetley and himself.
Yeah, we just called that this was coordination, even though they probably can't understand each other because Russian talking, but I mean they engineered themselves this advantage, you know? Like now they have advantage. Murphy actually goes down, big pick there. I don't know if they can, like, if they want to wait for this Uber, they probably have to because they're losing players before and you kind of need an Uber to push this last decisively, and they don't have a big Uber advantage to make it off dry pushing me-wise, you know? But Digo Z there gets stabbed, so that stales the Uber out even more, but they're kind of content, like both teams are content here because they're just waiting for their Uber.
Oh,
okay, never mind.
Massive stab on CJ, and now that's going to put them at a huge disadvantage. I was just going to say that they had lost poker and they might have been able to go in aggressively, but no. Murphy gets Catman.
They do, like, they bled players there on purpose. I have, like, the feeling that Catman was like, no, I don't want to push this. Oh, sorry, I have to say it definitely. I don't want to push this, I need to feed. And then he fed, and then they couldn't push with an Uber advantage. They're playing in their big door river kind of area. They're actually playing in river, this is interesting. There is a spy only on the second cap as Mezzo dies and Justice, so they're actually giving them frags again, you know, to make this last push work. They still have 60% advantage and now they're working their way into river. Let's see if they are as decisive again in this river push.
Early Uber comes out, getting denied from Sterno though. Some of the players just trying to go under, and I don't know if they've possibly seen this, but Poker sees it. Goes down to DQZ, just frags everywhere, messy push from Wasp, but they're under the point. Justice spamming them out. Fight is still going on.
Oh, big pick there by Birdie on the scout and last. It didn't really matter, but looks nice on the frag move, you know. The thing is, what you called out, they used really early, they got forced really early, and then the Uber was basically over, and as you were saying, Poker watched under, so he just killed the players that were not Ubered, and then the spam classes took high ground, and they won that. But currently it's only Mezzo on the second point, and he gets killed here by Sketis, so they're actually not on the same wavelength, and they want to fight this year, as they do get forced into Victor. Yeah. And they're probably not going to do that much with it. I mean, DQZ feeds in because he can, but they don't get this many frags with it. They do get the second cap, but Sparrow still has 70% advantage.
Yeah, that literally only just came out because Murphy was going to die to a flanking Catman, so, you know, those Catman plays you were talking about. Save me, DJ! But that's actually put them in a pretty terrible position now. They're bleeding players even with the super disadvantage as well. Vetley gets an important pick on the birdie, and now they've just got to think about playing this extremely passively. But Lightclaw in on CJ gets sent into the sky. CJ dies eventually. They're going to get Murphy too. All the backcappers, or there is still some backcappers being cleared up by DQZ.
Please go forward? Can they please not all stand on this point? They could have already pushing last at this point, but they all stayed on the point because they wanted cap points. They're actually giving them a chance now to get these respawns. Birdie there tries the hero shot, is not working though, as Lightclaw's on him into main and he actually kills him, and now they win. Strono was kind of not in position, they can still make this work. There's an Uber on the spy, he's clearly recognizing the superior class. There's Sketis on the point, gets so much cap them, the gun is really weak, and there's still Catman on this point. Catman can do this, he gets out-DM'd though by Engineer, and it's really scrappy, they're still fighting this. I mean, I think this push is over, but they kind of consolidated that much that Open Squad can't push out, and CJ is still there, he's still fighting in Jarati Soldier, and they got the point now. Wow, they kind of pushed this with like respawns or something, Gamma.
That was so messy. D-Toad gets dropped at the very start of the Uber essentially, and they still managed to get it. DQZ could have gotten that up about 2 or 3 seconds before Lightclaw did, but he said, you know what, I'm going to go for the medic instead. I don't blame him, as the demos roll out.
Yeah, let's see if they do the exact same mid-fight again. D-Toad is actually really pressured and goes passive in Banana. I don't even see Murphy, I think he probably rolled out with this combo, yeah, from Victor. Interesting sync up there. Maybe he messed up, or maybe not. As Mog actually gets stabbed there, and there we go. Like these frags are always exchanging so equal, you know, on the mid, and now actually Open Squad backed out of this. They were not actually in the pick disadvantage, but I think they had the positional disadvantage, as Sikas is still in and fighting Catman. Catman does slay though, and there we go. It's still equal Ubers. It's, you know, both teams are actually kind of content though, because they didn't like allow a last draw, and in this it's kind of methodical again. It's Uber v Uber and a last push.
It was another case there as well. Uber's coming out. It's all about the high ground in all of these fights so far, and WASP are losing it. They can't really stay in because of that high ground being held from Poker. But Sked is just trying to get the kill. He's going to get saved by his own sandwich. But yeah, that mid-fight was entirely decided by the high ground yet again. Open Squad not taking it at all, just getting spammed from it.
And now they're playing... Oh,
sorry, go on, continue yourself.
And now, I think we're both too polite. Now they're getting here into this choke. D-Toad actually gets cut off. Sikas is actually cutting her off, but he's actually getting out. Interesting now. He's furthermore getting cut out, and he's still in this. They're kind of denying him here as he gets an arrow, and Murphy dies, and CJ dies as well from a big jump from DQZ, and then just so many frags exchanging again. You see, if you're too slow, and now the sniper will go for the hero shot. He actually gets D-Toad with a close range headshot. Birdie just absolutely flocking him out of the air there. Not off the air, but off the ground, you know. Close range headshot, probably hacking, but doesn't matter. He's German pick class. He's allowed to do that. But yeah, you see, if you're too slow to kill players that are basically in your face, you will get punished for that because you get damaged, but you have to kill the players as Catman is feeding in now. But there we go again. It's player with 60% advantage.
I've heard that shooting at choke points is generally a good idea to prevent people from getting through, and that was something that Open Squad just weren't doing there and just allowed them all in. But they, as you say, Catman just goes in and feeds. So again, we're going to have a bit of a reset until Sprayer feels comfortable to go in, but these Ubers are very close. Only a 30% advantage. Mightn't even be aware of just how close it is.
Yeah,
they lose both their pick classes too. It's going to slow them down a bit.
Spy can't call out the percentage, so they're probably not aware, as you said. They're playing close to this choke, and there's only Catman close, and they might have been tricking them here into popping, because I don't actually know where Sprare's on the low ground holding Victor. That's very interesting, because this is not a very genuine play, as we might get a bit of a 60-minute stale now, as, okay, now Strono feeds in. Why are these players just feeding? And I think just bad discipline, you know, that's what enables these stalemates, because it's not the map's fault, it's the fault of the people. As Vettel gets the pick onto Mezzo, they are pulling the ISIL, as the old school players would say. It was basically a spy who only killed spies, but there we go. They still have a sniper and choke, and they're still lurking, but that's Catman closely. He's actually, either he's forcing them there, or Murphy is so lucky to survive that.
Uber's going to be exchanged here in big door. Massively superior one for CJ, but they're not really going to get anyone. And indeed, they completely seed choke. And Catman can just walk in with a bit of help, but then everyone leaves him, and now Catman's just flanking behind this rock with absolutely no support. And CJ doesn't want to contest him. An open squad now are going to have to get out of here before they lose more players. Again, not holding the choke points. And they're going to have to walk out.
This is so messy from both teams, actually. I feel like both teams don't actually know where their team is, you know? Like you said, they want to contest this, but then again, WASP really ran in as big jump in there from Suka, from Justice and Sukas, but they were kind of not on the same wavelength. CJ also dies to Light Claw as he claws that one back for his team, and they're probably going to push this. I mean, they have 70%, they can still just wait for their advance. Now it's the decision, do they want to push with this? Yeah, they actually want to. I'm not sure about this one, because they do have spawns now, and they're probably bleeding players here. If DQZ gets denied here now, he actually gets the pick onto Strono, as they're just flooding onto this last point. The spawns come in now, but it's basically... well, it's not too late to see, like, they do this, and Spray actually gets forced, so let's see how much Catman can do with this steal. But it's cringe, you know, that's why I didn't want them to push. Now they can get cut off here in River. I think Catman is out of ammo. This is such can't play, and they all die. Because rightfully so, completely mishgamma.
Oh, I don't know about that. They pushed at least 20% too early. If Sprayer had been close to Uber when they were pushing in, maybe then they wouldn't have dropped their entire team, and Catman mightn't have run out of ammo, having to shoot everyone. But now, again, at least we got to see some heavy melee action, even if he didn't get anyone, of course.
I mean, yeah, we said that, like, that's why I was curious if they want to push in, because they had 4 picks, but then again there were 4 players down. Catman is hiding here, Catman is hiding in Banana, he's shooting CJ, and he actually forces that completely alone by himself. This is so much going on again. I mean, they tried to plow forward here, they can get punished, though Dito is actually passive and choke, so he doesn't get picked or anything. They do get this midpoint with it, but kinda, I mean, this was basically given for free for them anyway, so they just got forced by Heavy there, hiding, but like genuine Catman player, you have to expect that as more goes down. So both pick classes down again for WASP. I feel like they're okay. Enemy pick classes feed as well. I feel like these pick classes are really, they're getting picks, but they're really inconsistent on this map currently.
I thought that the term pick class was meant to refer to you getting picks, not being picked yourself, but I don't know, maybe they're just reversing the natural order of things today for some reason.
Good one.
Catman, another player at the corner, gets Murphy for absolutely no reason. He's going to get picked off for his troubles. And now, Sprayer has no combo members, and that advantage has completely disappeared.
I think you can you take this into a bigger picture, because you say not only pick classes like don't need to get think, it also applies to every other player in the server. Like, you don't need to get fragged, you need to get frags, you know, in general, because they are just feeding constantly. It's so insane. DQZ gets picked there by Birdie as he was hiding above choke or something, but they found him out. But there we go, Birdie goes down. They do actually get the second cap, but there we go, a big Uber actually from River, as CJ is not really pressured, so they will have the way better Uber, but they have to play against the high ground, as they're just not getting these picks here, you know, on point, and they actually get this without Ubering, so that's great for them to push last.
They're going straight into last here because they know that there's no one there at all. CJ running in with Scout and Pyro, and it's the Pyro on the points. Can't get rid of that easy. WASP are just caught completely out of position in River, while CJ just ran behind them with half his combo. Easy cap for open squad there, just poor positioning.
Yeah, really poor positioning from WASP. That got to sting, as the people say. As we have, let's see, you know, it's absolutely not stalemate-y, as we kind of like predicted, you know, like it's the 4th mid-fight already. Both demos are playing completely the same again. I don't think they're actually mixing this up. DQZ is close to drop down. He doesn't feel comfortable jumping up. The Sprayer! Sprayer is the first one to go down to Birdie. How do you die as a medic to a sniper with a fully torched thing? But now they all go down here. And they actually jumped CJ as with a suicide wave, and it's just so many frags exchanging. Still equal frags, but it kind of favors open squad as they have the heavier classes up, as Poker gets picked there in the end, but as it's just enabling his, I don't want to say hacks, but his Russian game sense, you know, but open squad still kept the midpoint, but both medics start there. Really, like, just a lot of frags exchanging, Gamma.
This game is a frag clip editor's wet dream, to be brutally honest. Like, so many massive plays are going down from both sides, but so many stupid deaths as well, just poor positioning all around. You just don't die to full charge body shots on mid on Gully Wash. You have to be aware of where the sniper sightlines are. And then that massive bomb wave, wow, it's really quite something. WASP trying to get in through choke here with their bleeding players, most importantly Sprayer.
Sprayer is screaming at his team right now at 200 Sybil, I'm calling that right now, as he's dying. I mean, they're probably still going to cap this. Morg is still, like, he's on a 4K only, but I feel like he is putting his remark onto the game. He's coming into the game right now as CJ has 60% advantage, but let's see, you know, it's 2-1 in the favor of WASP, and we're actually getting, like, close to 10 minutes. I mean, considering this entire game, it has been quite fast-paced, so it is still potentially doable, though, to park the bus here, as the cool kids on the block say, as I think WASP is actually doing that, also because CJ has an Uber advantage, but the thing is, even with an Uber advantage, you still have to push an entire sniper sideline, as they're doing right now.
Catman again, just that positioning around the corners, and they're bleeding so many players. The onus has to be on open squad to do something, but CJ's all alone, Lightclaw chasing him down, he's going to be forced. They're not really going to get anything here. They get Lightclaw at the very least, but they've lost so many players, they've lost all the positioning, and they've lost that Uber advantage. They don't have an NG either to build at last if WASP come in here quickly and just get the second cap. They have to be aggressive now.
I mean, they say you have to push into an entire sniper sideline, but why do you even need a long-range pick class if you just have a heavy standing around the corner and people are still not noticing after him being there for like 3 times in a row? Mezzo is currently kind of fooling them into river. I think they bought this, guys, he's still backing up though. This is not the correct courage play, as they are kind of squandering their advantage a bit, though Justice goes down. But I just wanted to say, like, Soldier pick really big, but then DQZ actually dies, so it's kind of equal again. They're trying to do this from river again though, Gamma, as they want to push this last.
They want to be careful not to be denied again. They're actually just going straight onto the point again, and I don't know if that might have been seen. Sterno sees them. Uber comes out, but they're not killing him. He's only taking damage now, but again, you have the Pyro on the point, air blasting people away. So close, so much cap time, but everyone's dying. Oh man, it looked like all of WASP went under the point there. Clark just trying to run onto the point, but he's being shot at by the entire enemy team. DQZ is under the point. Has it been called? Yes, it has. He's there with Sukaz.
But you see, he denized them from pushing out again. I mean, they still have full Uber, but the thing is, you can't really push out, and probably Mezzo will die here because they will contest this from the Spectre, and they don't have people forward. See? Now the aggression comes in, he will die, because if they actually check him and he can't dodge invisible, no, okay, Lightclaw just completely ignores him. He's just playing with his food, obviously, but, you know, now they're contesting this from Bigdo, and this, more often than not, favors the defending team, as, I mean, there comes the Ur, but they can deny this here, because there's a Pyro in choke, and there's still Catman just hiding there. They still haven't noticed him. Now he's peeking around the corner, and he's shooting. Murphy goes down again. CJ is completely alone. They're getting flanked here. They do get the second cap, but, you know, they're trapped behind, like, the flanks are kind of swapped, and there goes the early pick, and there's just 3 players kind of struggling to get a position here.
There's a real sense there that Open Squad are just trying to force something. They know they're running out of time. That Uber was a desperation play, and they just couldn't really get anything with it. They do get that second cap at the very least, and they do prevent WASP from using, you know, that numbers advantage that they did get from that poor Uber to roll on through onto last again. But they're in such a poor position now with an Uber disadvantage, trying to hold aggressively in this big door. Again, no one a choke though, even as I say that.
They're all rotating, they're listening to you. Now the entirety of WASP is in Victor though, so that's very interesting play again, as Murphy is completely aggressive, like alone again. I feel like, although there's the Catman play again, let's see if they spot him the 4th time. He gets a lot of damage onto Sterner, like these people are so lucky that they survived. Now they're pushing into here, Poker actually gets killed, and the CJ actually got his Uber. They took so long with their Uber advantage, but he's getting kind of separated here. Strono is on the chase, and he's going into the entire combo here in lower. Murphy only has a pen to defend himself, but they all die, and they're kind of getting the 2nd point here, and there are only 3 players up, so they can just plow on this last point here, Gamma.
There will be a small respawn wave here, but I think this is, yeah, definitely. Oh, the shot from Birdie, hero shot. They're just going to walk in though, I think. Again, the high ground advantage coming out from Poker, and they hold.
The
just
actual
hold
saving
long
shot,
enough.
incredible. Like usually what happens when you're a pick class, you get a you kind of semi-carry the entire time, but then your team is like, no, this would be too easy, just let's, just all die to make it equal again.
Just to give him a chance to pull out another hero play.
Yeah. Now we actually see the genuine newly developed kind of strategy, as you just hold Victor and you just let the enemy team feed into you, because it's really easy to lock down. Like you see Murphy's contesting this, but he's kind of alone. I mean, if they were a bit more brave, like they are so weak on this point, Wiethoofd is just spamming them a bit from the long distance, and they actually get the cap here now in a better position now, as now actually they start to bleed in because they were all weak, you know. Without CJ actually died somewhere as well, so full advantage now.
Lightclaw just slipped in under in lobby and just two-shot him basically. Almost escaped to get a back cap too. The Uber comes out through main, and Poker's just standing there at the Fists of Steel and tanks it all. Wow, that was a very questionable Uber from Spur. Hadn't even started capturing second, and it was just a heavy with Fists of Steel, and they just ran away from him.
They're kind of getting too much ahead of themselves. That was like, oh wait, we don't even have the 2nd point, let's Uber anyway. Oh, we still haven't capped, so that's that. So the Ubers are equal, but if you're WASP, you know, it's only 5 minutes. It has been like slowed down a bit. I mean, they're both pushing, but they're both like failing at these pushes like so hard. I feel like, I mean, you could say that it's because both teams are really skilled, but you could also say that's people not playing to their advantages. But I think it favors WASP right now because they're still 2-1 up. There's only 4.5 minutes to go.
I feel like WASP would have at least 2 more rounds in if they had a little bit more patience with their pushes. Like there was that other time as well where Sprayer pushed in, didn't have Uber, a massive spawn wave came up, and then the only person left alive with them was Domaytoe. So like, if they just had a little bit more patience and coupled that with their aggression in the right situation, they might have easily gotten 5-0 at this point. But, you know, ifs, buts and maybes, they haven't done it.
Mezzo there tried to do the combo. Domaytoe does only play with his food though. He actually slays, as they get forced really early there, but Sprayer uses it because he actually went weak to something, so it's equal again. I mean, like 2 picks there. Vettel actually, I think this was a face step or something. Oh, got the step onto Poker. I mean, Heavy is rotating with high sensitivity that only enables you as a birdie there, gets a pick onto Morg, so they're actually still holding here. Like, they don't have to push on the side of WASP. You can just, you know, slow it down because it's only like 3.5 minutes and time just slowly ticks down. But Lightclaw decides that 6 is a better game mode and you just have to go forward and DM basically. As they're taking this lobby, I'm not sure. This is kind of a risky situation as DQZ also dies, so I'm not sure if I agree with this, as yeah, Sprayer is getting weak, so he's calling to his team that they are backing out into Victor again. Amazing rotations.
This is definitely the smarter play to do though. Like, as you say, you're 2-1 up, you're pinning your opponents in at last. There's no point in making massive risky plays because that's been the story of this entire game, and almost none of them have worked out. So they're just going to take their Uber advantage, sit in this big door, and just wait it out.
Oh, they're doing the lower push. They're pushing onto second while the entire T of the people like pushed onto their second. Now they're pushing last, and they are just on this lap. And there we go. Yeah, that's the bane of this. That's the bane of this river push. Just so classical. I don't know actually why Sprayer used this, so they couldn't cap like this fast. So they gave them a chance to do this on second, but there was absolutely no chance. They literally all went to the last point. But yeah, classical. Get tricked there. Outbrained.
Again, shoot at choke points, people. Keep an eye on them, otherwise you're just going to get flanked by the entire enemy team.
Let's see how this like no frags again on this mid-fight. Like, it takes too long for the frags. Actually, engineer frag, but it doesn't matter. It's only engineer. Also, Melzer goes down, but still no frags exchanging. What is that, Gamma?
I have no idea, really. Both teams just respecting each other a little bit, maybe. But the positional advantage, bomb coming out from Justice, Catman just completely ignoring. Will go down to combine spam from everyone. CJ gets flanked by Lightclaw. Too late to kill him from Murphy. Everyone just dying. It's the same thing every single fight. Just every single mid-fight. Everyone does nothing for like 20 seconds, and then suddenly everyone goes aggressive. Maybe they have some hidden signal they're not telling us.
Yeah, the hidden signal, I can tell you the hidden signal right now, if you're like as comfortable and you know, knowledgeable in Six's TCM byte is talking to them right now, as we can do this, we can cap this in this kind of minute, because it's time to TCM this, as we say in online terms, but they probably can't make this work anymore because they're on the midpoint here with an Uber. Spurs just stalling them out and it's basically dead time right now. So we can just call out more players, and we can already make predictions, because I can already spill the beans and say that I'm not a fan of locks, but I just feel like these frags will be so equal, because literally I feel like everyone like fed in so hard this entire game, kind of. So it was just a bit. I mean, they Ubered a lot, you know. Like, we didn't have any drops or something, but I feel like these rotations were just like little rotations, and it like they didn't like they only took like 1 point at a time or stuff like that. And Kritz actually, Kritz comes out. Interesting. Doesn't get anything. Oh wait, he gets more. Easy frag.
But that one in your frag video, Clark's coming out behind CJ. Do it for the logs, he gets them too. That's great. No, I think you're completely right. There's just everyone dying all over the place constantly for like the full 30 minutes, and it just makes it very hard to get any sort of cohesive push or a hold up when you've people just doing random stuff all over the place. I don't know if it's an issue with main calling, or maybe just people being like, to hell with this, it's Gully, we're going to make it fun and interesting for ourselves. But wow, it was a bloodbath this entire game.
Definitely, as we go down there we go, 3-1 for WASP. That actually is in the first kind of thing. So your prediction there being completely on point. So maybe you want to now quit casting right now, because you have 100% prediction rate. Can't get better than that one.
Do I get a shiny medal for this?
I'm unsure. We have to check this back, but what we're checking back before, I mean, you got a lot of sympathies, because you actually like took decisions, you trash talked players a bit there. That's really good. Oh, the real important question as we bring up the logs. What is your opinion on logs before we go down these things, these numbers?
I mean, for the most part, logs are only going to show the extremes, I think, in what people do and what people don't do, I suppose, most often. What these logs, I haven't opened them yet, but I'm fairly sure we're going to see a lot of deaths all around. Maybe not a lot of people going positive in kill death ratios, but there's going to be a lot of damage all around as we have a look.
I mean,
yeah,
I have to spoil you. Wow, two sixes kind of classes there from the WASP side, like genuine sixes class, the Scout being on top there on a sixes map. Who would have predicted that one?
Yeah, he played really well. He got some really key picks, like that pick on CJ when they were just trying to push out a last in that like 5-minute long stalemate. He really just seemed to find the gaps all over the place in their flank. A lot of that was down to the positioning that we were talking about, like open squad just leaving gaps in random places, and the WASP flank made full use of it. Even with that, though, 328 DPM from Justice, that's pretty nice. Heavy damage coming out from both demos as well. And Sniper's equal enough. But as we were saying, this game was just, there isn't much you can say about it, but one thing I would say, as a medic main myself, one medic died 6 times, his team won. The other medic died 11 times and his team lost.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm also freshly forged medic main. I'm not sure if it's like, as a medic main, the first mindset you have to get down is when you die, it's not actually your fault, it's your team's fault. And if they actually blame you, you just have to like speak louder than them, and then you're absolutely correct about everything you say. this is how you want to play this. But yeah, wait, what team it was? Yeah, Sprayer. Sprayer died but 6 times. Yeah, I mean, Sprayer is playing really conservatively in general. Like, that's the kind of Sprayer play. I mean, I think we've done them enough justice, these things. Do you still have something to say, like something that sticks out for you, or are you done with these as well?
In terms of the logs, nah, I don't really think there's any much more we can really learn from it. Just lots of people died, lots of people got kills, and WASP just happened to get the most important ones at the best time, I think. Particularly, it's
also, I think we just I don't know if IQ is a indicator for that one. I think this last push through lower. I mean, that's a typical play, but I like how literally everyone walked to last just to rub it in your face, you know? It's not like, wow, you get tricked by the flank running behind you. No, you get tricked by the entire running behind you. So all of these average IQs of their players just increased by 5, you know, like just by doing that one. But we're on a totally different map now. It is King of the Hill Warm Tick, and as you said, I played this as a medic, and even on LAN where it's really loud environment and where just your enemy team is sit in front of you and just screams so loud you can't hear sniper calls and you just die constantly and get screamed on by your team. So Warm Tick, I don't like it as a medic. It's a horrible map to play as a medic, I feel like. But yeah, what's your opinion on the clearly inferior map compared to Product? Because every King of the Hill map is inferior compared to Product. But yeah, Warm Tick.
Of course they are. Warm Tick, again, I'm biased because I'm a medic main. This is an awful map and should be removed from all map rotations. Now, in all seriousness, I think this map also comes down a lot to height advantages. You know, you have the crates. Technically, all classes can get up there. I had the fortune to witness in a lobby a Girardi Bushwhacker medic drop from a sniper who fell from the crate. So, you know, you never really know what sort of crazy stuff can happen here. But definitely, I think height advantage will be crucial to both teams. And I think having Lightclaw and DQZ might just swing that for WASP.
It could most possibly be. I'm like seeing this map before, like the rotations from both teams. I don't give like any teams, by the way, even though they won like 3-1. You still have to take into account what you said like halfway through the game. That open squad could have, WASP could have basically kind of 6-1 this or something, you know, by not actually like cringing their pushes so hard. I mean, here it's also about pushes, but it's less about rotations as on Gullywash, as you just have to play more conservatively about your positions and actually move forward as a team. So maybe Open Squad actually have a bit more cohesion on that one, as they don't have to, you know. The thing about Gully is you don't see your team constantly. You have to use a microphone to talk to people, and most people don't. Some people don't feel comfortable doing that. So here you can actually see your team moving forward, so you can adapt by using your eyes instead of your ears and your mouth.
Yeah, again with that whole cohesion thing though, you know, one of these teams has a Merc medic, and while CJ is, you know, a fantastic medic, you know, he's maybe not used to playing with these guys, and maybe that comes down, maybe that'll affect the comms a little bit. So it looks like we're probably going live?
Yeah, we're going live right now. I mean, Zapparoni is their main medic, so the comms are probably 1,000 times cleaner, and the kind of skill level of English usage has increased, but that off the charts. There we go. Murphy actually arrives there. Both demos are kind of equal, but Wiethoofd has way better health on this actually. I think he got early arrow there, but again, it's so like no frags are exchanging. I can literally sit here and nothing is happening. They are playing so passively there. Ah, there we go. First frag there. Lightclaw King Mezzo again. I think that's basically the first thing. Oh, the time is Justice there. He got shot by the mini sentry, but he ultimately killed Sprayer there. He just got way too rockets onto him. Skettis was just not in position to deny this, as Verdi goes down there to battle, as they're actually plowing forward here without heals, and they're getting these frags down. They're actually getting the frags without heals, and they're scaring them away, but in the long term it should favor the team with heals and the Uber, and they actually use that to block the point that no team has kept yet. So there we go, first mid fight. Yeah.
Again, yeah, it was incredibly cagey from both teams, but the aggression just came out at the exact right time from WASP to just put some pressure on the point and force that Uber. And this mid-fight is still not over. Wasp, with the respawns, can come back in. They have the superior positioning. they can just start to walk into the point a little bit. Murphy's trying to contest him because they're Girardi'd. Massive pipe gets Catman and Lightclaw with that Girardi on them, and it looks like Open Squad are actually going to get this point there.
It's still kind of indecisive. Actually, now they're getting this, and Sketus dies, Pyro down as Sikas dies, and Murphy as well, so they can actually contest this. I feel like, yeah, Wiethoofd will probably not be too happy, because you see, like, Wiethoofd is literally the only one forward. Morg doesn't need to be forward, he can just headshot all the players anyway from Banana, but he gets spammed here, and Poker actually gets the frag onto him, so there we go, as Birdie feeds though, as... There we go, Uber again, and Sprayer has this, but he's passive, because it's Sprayer, and they're actually now going to exchange. Catman and Sketus have to pull a lot here, as Lightclaw is also assisting. That's really good. You need to have fast classes. They don't even get the heavy though. Poker dies now, but they could have maybe done a bit more. But now the players are actually feeding in, so that's that. But wow, it's so scrappy again. Like no team wants to give the other respect, really.
Yeah, I don't agree with how long Poker stayed in there with that Uber. Like, you got your kills on the point. You know the enemy medic is the Uber directly behind the point. You shouldn't really stay around when Uber's about to fade. That allowed Open Squad or WASP, sorry, to just get back in with some spam. But again, just everyone dying all over the map, and that allows Open Squad to get back in and get the cap back. Not much time on the clock for WASP from that cap, in fact.
They're trying to work their way in from the right side, seen from the Open Squad team side right now. They do have 20% advantage, but it doesn't really matter in Highlander. There are so many factors mattering in. As DQZ tried to take the upper flank, but Justice rains from above. Wow, and he just gets absolutely counter-rained there, just with a reflect into the face, mid-air. There we go, get absolutely denied. Kit is what the Pyro would say in this kind of scenario, but they actually get forced here. I don't know why this does happen, because, I mean, Sprayer he has to flash in a very passive position, so they actually can't make this much out of the Uber itself. And there we go, a Flying Spy who actually survives, get the frag onto Wiethoofd, so there's only a Pyro there currently, as Sprayer is trying to assist him, but it's still so equal. As the Spy comes in, Sprayer is calling for that, but there we go, the second jump just comes in. Sprayer does survive, but it's taken him so long again to cap.
That was all down to Justice making an absolute nuisance of himself. But while that was going on, CJ was in his Banana using the dispenser as shield from some butter knife attempts coming out from Vettel when he eventually gets him. But that'll mean that Sprayer has a big Uber advantage, and they have the point. But they have a massive time disadvantage, and time is all that matters in Koth.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite fair, like, if you just have a big stranglehold, time sometimes doesn't matter that much, but then again, Catman dies, Wiethoofd dies, so both combo members die, so it's kind of hard if your combo members die to have strangleholds or something. Girardi goes onto Murphy, but there's not really pressure there forward. Birdie also gets stabbed. I didn't actually look so much on the logs before on the snipers, but I feel like Birdie is I just see him in the kill feed, like on the receiving end all the time, as they're getting aggressive here. They do get a lot of spam. Vettel actually kills Poker there, who was waiting for something, and Morg also killed Murphy before that. So they actually get forced here, and they don't actually have that many players, so number advantage and Uber advantage, I would say, in the kind of favor of WASP, and they're just cleaning all these players up that they're trapping behind them with the Pyro. So now, decisive mid-fight again, won by WASP.
I think crucially there, when you have the equal Ubers and you know that you have the numbers disadvantage, I actually think what CJ did there wasn't actually the wrong option, because he bought a good bit of time and he survived. Two crucial things I think might actually, maybe, don't want to Caster's curse this, but play out to a round win, perhaps, for Open Squad in this particular round.
It could be. I mean, the rest of the players died, that's right, but I didn't see the CJ escape. I don't know if he survived because of his superior fourth time Prem winning mechanics, or because the enemy team was just not on the same wavelength, but there we go. They're actually defending this point. I mean, both teams actually bled as many players, like I don't know, like player advantage wise, but you know, the team that doesn't have the point does have the advantage in the terms of the respawns, as Vettel is trying to do something on CJ, he doesn't though, as CJ is only forward with the Pyro and he actually gets pressured there. One rocket is all it takes, and there comes the force out. A Sprayer actually, where did Sprayer die there, Gamma? Didn't see that?
I didn't see it at all, I have to say. Brilliant spectator work from me. Maybe he hit the kill bind. Maybe all of this just wasn't worth it for him anymore. But you know, so far, if I had to name my MVP,
Is the pause button.
ooh,
Yeah, I would
there you
have.
go.
So we
Yep.
are actually we are saved from this. So my MVP as well is the pause button. No, but who's your MVP?
My MVP for this round so far has been Girardi because so many important kills coming on players who have been Girardi'd. So it's good play from both snipers, I think. Morg has done it a little bit more, I think. And maybe that's translated to some better kills for WASP, but you know, we're just going to have to wait until the pause ends to see.
I mean, it's probably Morg, because if I think back of Gullywash, literally on every mid-fight, Murphy was P'd on from Morg, so I think Morg is just making it work for him. On Girardi, he was on Razorback for some time, but we know how the Razorback is these days. People are not complaining. Well, maybe Snappermans are still complaining. I don't listen to Snappermans in general, so maybe they're still complaining. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, 30% or 25% actually advantage, but there we go. Poker's quite weak there actually forward, so it's so equal. Like I feel like these fights are not actually being decisive because I mean, you know, they are decisive because they do get a lot of frags, but then after that they lose a lot of frags, so it's kind of not decisive in that way. While like the situation itself is decisive, but not if the enemy team just helps you like stabilizing again. But yeah, I mean, who do you say is the like biological MVP? Except Morg on the other team on Open Squad. Who's doing the carry?
The carrying, well, you know, these points for the most part have been won by whichever team gets spammed the most. And, you know, that comes down to what work the Demoman can get done. And while Murphy's died in a few questionable ways, I think he has put out a huge amount of work. Shout out to CJ as well for dying not very much. You know, it's quite hard to do that on Wormtick. And he's giving his team a chance just by staying alive. Obviously, if we were to count in the effect Morg has had, I'd probably say him as well, but, you know, there's plenty of players all around doing work. It looks like we're getting information that Vetley might have to go. And it looks like they're looking for a Merc or a replacement for him. As I'm waiting for Domaytoe to reconnect, if you're here. Can't hear my fellow co-caster, so...
sorry,
there we go.
Okay, well,
We got
I don't
you.
know, my headset kind of got an idle in the server because it saw everything dying, so it died as well for a second there. But we're getting a Merc, or what did you say? Or
It looks like we're getting information from Clark that Vettel has to go. So they're going to have to look for a Merc / a replacement for him, I think. So he could be here for a significant amount of time.
Well, that's kind of the issue. I mean, you get players, you know, that's the kind of gamble you have to take. I have Vettel on Snapchat, so I know that it's kind of hard if you have like younger players, you know, they have to go to bed at some point. They have like younger and not so worn down wrists, so they can carry like mechanically, but you have to account for the bedtime. And since Russians are always late, I'm not sure. So they're maybe getting a Russian spy or something like that, or someone who can actually stay awake for a little more and to carry his team to victory.
Yeah, you have alluded to that actually. It is quite late. And, we're unpausing. So it seems. But yeah, how late that this fixture was set on a Sunday, you know? Kind of have to take that into account for younger players.
Just take it, I just have to retry because my HUD just has, you know, how it is ice skating players.
I'll do that after you have rejoined them. It looks like Open Squad have gotten the point back. But CJ dies to Morg, standing in the sniper sightline too long and not respecting him. Detoad laying out some spam, just trying to get in, but again, not respecting the sniper sightline. Birdie gets him. The Uber comes out on a scout and pyro. They need to get this point before time runs out. Looks like they're going to get it.
Poker actually stayed in this category and got Light Claw, who was not respecting the players, as you said. I don't know if this is disrespect or just kind of goldfish, kind of short-term memory, as literally Sprayer dies to a Tomislav, and there's still Detoad trying to deny this. He is P-dun though, and there we go. The cap actually goes down. So, this was 10-second like difference, and the scrappy like last fight actually decided that. Interestingly enough. But as we said, it's kind of hard to not respect the sniper sideline because you know how it is. Cough, bomb, tick. The entire map is literally a sideline. But there we go. First point of the map goes to open squad as we go into the second midpoint. Gamma.
Yeah, I mean, Sprayer going down to Tommy Slav halfway across the map. I had to mute myself momentarily because I was bursting out laughing. It's a little bit ill-dignified. But Sprayer goes down to the body shot from Birdie. This is going to translate itself into the cap, I would think. Birdie again with another kill on GQZ. Open squad, they're not really getting aggressive with this though. And Wiethoofd with a massive bomb gets CJ. And maybe open squad can rescue this mid. They can indeed.
Yeah, those pipes were clean and crisp. They kind of went down there in the health like disadvantage, so they actually all died there afterwards as Sprayer just got picked early, so he couldn't heal his team up anymore. But then the big jump there from Wiethoofd saved his team there. A bit of struggle as, there we go, Mezzo actually goes for DQZ. He doesn't get him though, he turns around just in time. Mock probably caught that, and there we go, Jarati again onto Poker. Wiethoofd though dies, but he's on a 4k right now. They kind of have to control the sniper, I feel like, as 30 seconds in the favor of open squad, but 30% advantage inside of WASP as they're trying to edge this cap.
Yeah, I was out for that particular fight, but it looks like open squad are bleeding players all over the map. And open squad, or WASP are bleeding players all over the map.
Sket is denied the stickies from Murphy going onto the sentry gun. There we go, he literally denied the sticky so he can kill the sentry gun. I feel like that's more disrespect than anything. But good to see that psychological warfare, you know, but the next Uber exchange is going to come in very soon.
Yeah, that is indeed a meta play coming out from Pyros. You think you can destroy this mini sentry? Nah, mate. No way. Not while I'm here. Birdie gets more sniper battles ringing out across the map.
He's still alive, he's on a 6k currently. He has just turned on his focus. I feel like he's still in main. They do lose a lot of players.
Oh, that Uber coming from under.
Oh.
The classic weird strat. CJ uses his Uber, but he's lost a lot of players. That was such a good idea from WASP, noticing that there was absolutely no one watching under.
Sprayer got 2 frags with the arrow right there. He literally killed Mezzo and the engineer, so he probably got more frags in this entire Uber than his team. But I mean, it was a good rotation through under because it was equal Ubers, but they picked the players off that were behind them because they were not expecting this. So they picked them off and actually had the kind of number advantage there. But yeah, interestingly enough, now Sprayer with 50% advantage. But again, they are so hard in the disadvantage in the time stakes, just as their dice to Sticky Trap and Poker also, so they're kind of stating them out. Murphy here does pipe down Catman though, so the combo members are exchanging, but there's nothing really happening, as they, I think this was a semi-suicide wave, but Sprayer was completely fine there in Banana.
I'd understand if there was a suicide wave, but there was a moment of time there, a good long moment of time, where CJ didn't have anyone to heal, and that's just gonna, again, just open squad bleeding players all over the map. But in that period of time, if CJ had someone to heal, maybe he would be actually at 80%, 90% by now. You know, just people not staying with him.
So yeah, I wanted to give them a compliment, like to say they're not feeling, no, they're maybe trying to do a suicide wave, but then again, you kind of showed their real colors as they didn't have anyone like healing with their medics, so that basically there comes the suicide wave completely alone by Murphy. Sprayer isn't even touched really. Sprayer does restore now, as they just get so many damage on them, like they could deny the flank coming in after that. Sukas actually survived that somehow, and Justice just had so many potential to get the frags as CJ now has a full Uber, so they actually had the time to make this work. So now we have to see as this kind of boils down again to Uber push as much as they can get haunted, as Wiethoofd tried to do something forward. He does get picked though as the Uber comes in now.
Wiethoofd
at least
pulled out a massive bomb around house and there was no one there. So he just had to kind of run away and do the walk of shame and ended up walking into half the team. Sprayer dies, good stickies from Murphy. CJ isn't going to have to use to get this point.
Yeah, that was interesting play there. They could have like forced them or something, but they basically gave this away for free, all backed out, and then Murphy jumped behind them and killed Sprayer, so they now still have a full Uber advantage and they still have only 1 minute to go, so it's kind of hard. It's like basically maybe 2 like Uber fights left in the book, and if they like get Spray here again in this kind of position, they're not feeling comfortable getting fought with this like Uber now, but they got a lot of cap time. They're actually not getting the frags here. Literally everyone backed away from this Uber.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Wasp just walked onto the point, and CJ was just kind of looking at Poker like, what are you doing? We need to stop them from walking onto this point. No one shooting at them, and that kind of subpar Uber had to try and delay them at the very least. They don't get... Oh, Sprayer dies! Good bomb from Justice. And well, everything's okay now.
I mean, if you're open squad, everything is okay for you. When you are Wasp, then you actually kept the point right now, but you you let Wiethoofd die. You let Skettis the DQ set as well. They're just all dying. They're not actually getting these picks here, but I mean, kind of the Wiethoofd dies there. He tried to do something, but now the aggression comes in again. They're probably going to re-kill this straight away because they just split so many players. I mean, there comes the sniper and Wiethoofd. Maybe they can do something. They need to stay this out. Sprayer does die in the end though, so it definitely favors them in the long-term fight and also in the short-term fight. As second point, there are 2-0 for open squad. As these rounds are really close, but I don't know. What do you think is the biggest issue that WASP is having right now, except their roster?
Oh, aside from the roster issues, just it seems like they're not really pushing from the same place or even together, really. And because of that, they just bleed players, and they bleed enough players to make sure they can never really hold on to the point for long.
This was just that was so funny to see. Just jumped. Oh, there we go. And Spray actually dies to a good diversion there and dies to Sneakies. The soldiers literally just jumped past them and were like, "Hello." He wanted to jump, and then they kind of greeted themselves with a handshake in the air, but kind of changed. Well, frags are exchanging here. Big Jarati actually coming in. Nobody's forward though. Everybody died before that. DQZ tries to do something. Only gets an engineer frag though. It is fine. He can't build a dispenser, and that is the most important thing, but CJ, 80% advantage, and they're looking really comfortable again on this one. And it's the last round if they win this.
Yes, of course. Just thought the soldiers meeting in the night as they pass by each other in midair was really quite the vista. DQZ so close to getting CJ, but the engineer just took the rocket for him. And maybe that would have put them in a better position, but oh, they lose Murphy though. But equally, Wiethoofd goes down to Sugaz.
Yeah, Wiethoofd's suicide. Wiethoofd suicided for this demo. He kind of wanted to show who is the superior demo, as I haven't really decided who is the superior heavy, because there is still this golden Tomislav at stake. We can't forget this one, but I mean, currently it's 1 minute ticked away for open squad. Wasp have an Uber, but let's see if they actually can make something work of this. They lose Skettis early on, and there we go. Like, Justice dies, but he actually forces Prem in this kind of situation. They're all getting aggressive here, and there's so much going on. Wiethoofd actually gets dropped in the Uber, gets infected, and DQZ also dies. They actually bled more players. And Sprayer gets caught and completely dies to an engineer. Goodbye, you absolutely deserve that. CJ dies in the end, but it was a very scrappy fight, and that was so messy, like so subpar push there, and Sprayer not like trusting his team, getting forced, and then they didn't have their coordination down enough on the aggression.
That was a massive flank from Whiteclaw there to get CJ. Both flanks are just on the opposing team's opposite side of the map and just trying to get some work done. The Whiteclaw got the most important kill out of all of them, getting CJ, and CJ dies again to DQZ. And now Sprayer will have pretty decent advantage, but no, Justice with the bomb gets Sprayer to try and equalise the Ubers, but at least Wasp will probably get this point back.
They're just,
but open squad say no.
the flank is just doing so much for both teams, really, and it's just taking both teams really long to get this point, because they're not going onto this sync. Like now, Lightclaw is completely alone on this point, and he's getting so weak, and he backs out again. Wiethoofd and Clark now do get the job done, and DQZ dies for that kind of though through Birdie. And there we go, Imma, by the way, we didn't mention Imma, but Imma was the new spy coming in. Murphy gets headshot there, but Imma is the kind of Merc spy there, Russian for Wasp, but they're trying to edge this cap out here on open squad, but they're having the same difficulties as Morg has just enabled kind of his head clicking potential again, just gets a lot of frags, but you see, like both teams have the kind of exact issue right now.
You have one half of each team being like, we need to get the kills, and the other half of the team being like, we need to get the objective. And that just splits their teams completely, so they can't really even get either one done in quick enough time. And Open Squad completely butcher this push, pretty much because of that. Bleeding players all over the map again. Crits,
crits
though,
actually
from Sprayer.
Oh, that's
CJ sees it.
To be quite fair, like, oh no, CJ now gets kind of scared away there by Pyro. Like, CJ stayed with a scout for like 30 seconds alone in Banana, and I feel like they could have been way more aggressive there, WASP, and punished them. They tried to sticky them off and surprise them behind, but in the end both didn't actually work out this good. And Sprayer does now, if he actually heals somebody, which he isn't, he could have his, I don't know, Uber going crits advantage, but he hasn't healed for so long. He's behind so much in the Uber sticks. He just waited in main behind and tried to connect with somebody, but everyone is just dying in the front. Clock also gets stabbed, so CJ now has a big Uber advantage actually, and Uber beats crits.
Yes, of course, it's an absolute nightmare to be on as a medic, to be stuck on that crits charge when the enemy quite clearly has an Uber advantage. But Sprayer is building this very, very fast, and he might. Maybe they'll surprise CJ, but of course they'll know that Sprayer is stuck on crits, and he'll be on the lookout.
They actually get this cap for free, and they use so early. Gamma.
They use so early, and they don't stop the point, and they're not even getting important picks. Sprayer, of course, now is that full crits charge. This point, oh, CJ gets killed by Morg. They're not even going to have to use this crits to kill the combo. They do on the engineer, just to get the picks behind them.
They did use Untitled. They did got some sticky spams there, so stickies, crit stickies on the combo, so they actually denied them. It was kind of good there, backing out, because they knew they had to get on the point. I mean, they didn't really have to, but they did, so they just got killed by crit stickies and everything. So Sprayer now has slight advantage again. Imma's on a 5k right now. He killed Birdie as well, really important pick, a sniper on this map, and they have to get on this point here. And Wasp can just stay aggressive and spam them from Banana, which is what they're doing right now. As Pyro comes in, he's an overpowered class. So many picks just coming down, it's incredible. It's just carnage. It's literally everyone going down the same kind of amount, because defensive team can play passive and offensive team can't play around advantages so much, because you have to get on the point. And there we go, 2-1. As they try to claw this back, maybe there's potential.
Yeah, a lot of that around has to go down to him, but got some really, really big picks for them. Really just disrupted any attempt that that Open Squad tried to make. But really, letting WASP get that cap when you have full Uber advantage and they only have crits. Oof, that was not the play from Open Squad.
I mean, they kind of like, oh, there we go, get this Pyro down, that's perfect. You can push now because you're freed of the Pyro class. Oh no, okay, there we go. The pick class is opening this up, literally, like, of the five frags, sorry, for the stuttering, the first 5 frags were by pick classes. And now actually Open Squad get this because their pick classes were more consistent on that one, and they just crushed them. Both medics did survive, and Sprayer still on crits. It's very equal though. CJ has Uber right now and Sprayer's crits, so we just have to see if it gets caught early as they're walking in on the right side, Gamma. As Uber comes in really early.
Yeah, it's Soldier Uber of all things in Highlander. Didn't know we were watching sixes.
Oh, Sprayer, I think Sprayer dropped there to Murphy in the backlines. There we go.
Pipe. Yeah, it's pretty nice on them. They really needed to get the hero sticky coming out from Wiethoofd, but CJ didn't give them any opportunity to. That early Soldier Uber just to get in on the team that they knew they only had crits, get as much damage out as possible, and then the rest of the team just collapsed on them, crucially getting Sprayer.
I feel like they kind of did this a bit too risky than they had to. Like, they used really early, they got saved by this hero pipe, as you said, but in the end it does work out for them. So DQZ dies to mini sentry. I think he tried to bomb something, but nobody has Uber, so you actually have to rely on your rockets hitting and not the enemy medic just being scared of you in general, which he should be, which your aim should be. But there we go. Meso just follows Wiethoofd as Wiethoofd just went through the point and tried to do something, but he just dies. And there we go. CJ now has Uber, and there's Uber against crits again, and 1.5 minutes ticked off already for Open Squad in this one. Gamma.
Yeah, this isn't looking good for WASP now. They haven't even got the point yet. Only 1.5 minutes left for Open Squad. They have that Uber, as you say. Catman just died really early there in kind of a weird heavy flank play, as you say. And they're getting all the picks, because again, oh no! The sticky from Dito gets CJ.
Nice one,
lives,
though. Nice
and
one.
Dito then dies.
I like the fact that, I mean, he had to heal Skettis, so Skettis could deny this, but we had an amazing Kritz Air Blast Pyro who basically pressed M2, so Kritz Air Blast, it's good use. Catman does die, and Justice, big moment from Justice, and he's actually surviving that. Just got a lot of damage, and DQZ is just trying to scare him out. He gets passive now, but you see, it's only 50 seconds to go for open squad.
Yeah, again, it's just the different mediguns and not being able to use them at the right times gives a massive amount of time for open squad. WASP, oh, they're not even going to get this point, as Poker and Sterno try to get in on it, but they will be backed up this time by Catman, who's decided he's had enough of playing on the flank. He'll play with the combo once more.
Yeah, they will get slayed. Actually got this point for free, so now they have actually 40% crits advantage. Will be interesting to see if they actually want to use this, as Murphy gets aggressive on the crates, does get killed though by a combination of DQZ and Clock. There's Morg dice, so that's an opening again. They still have the crits, but they're playing kind of passive, they're waiting for them, but they don't, like, they have this much of a time advantage. I don't know, they actually don't need to risk this, like, they don't even have Uber yet, and there we go, Poker dies to that, and there we go, the crits, but it's not in the same wavelength. They do get the scout who was like close seekers, but there's a bomb from Justice. Sprayer does survive, but who CJ now uses, I'm unsure though. Like, they could have done this better, but they're actually going down with this cap, so they can probably make this work because they have the time advantage. As DQZ is just spamming them out here, Gamma.
Sniper isn't an ideal pocket for the medic when you're both trying to capture the point and the rest of your team has been forward looking for frags. But DQZ didn't really commit on that. He probably could have gone in and tried to pressure CJ more. But, you know, don't want to be feeding anymore, I suppose. That was just an unfortunate situation for Sprayer goes into the body shot. That was just an unfortunate situation for Sprayer, stuck on crits constantly and always behind an Uber. 10 seconds left. There's going to need to be a hero play coming out here from WASP. Trying to get some spam down, get the players weak. DQZ is going to lose the battle to Justice up above. They're not going to get anyone on the cap. 3-1. I was wrong.
They're all lying to themselves, they're all writing GG in chat. Just because you tell yourself it's cheating. No, never mind. It's too much of I mean, you said he was stuck on crits, he died sometime with the crits, so Sprayer was actually actively think about using the crits, so it's basically, I don't want to say his fault. As a medic, it's your enemy team's fault because you're not making the most out of this crits. But yeah, there we go. There's only, like, you know, I mean, of course there's a medic popping it in the right situation, but then again your team actually has to do something with it. And in this kind of sense, open squad, oh wait, WASP won before, so that's a 3-3. That's a tie. That's boring. Nobody can roast the other one. Our predictions are actually, if you think about that, both wrong. Amazing.
Everyone's losers.
Thanks. Everyone is a loser on Highlander. That's the moral of the game.
Superior game mode is Highlander. I refuse to take anyone else's opinion on that. But yeah, those crits plays are just really subpar. I don't really think they got any significant picks with them. That last particular crits, they tried to get out of Banana. Justice was just sitting directly above them and just spamming rockets down at them. And Wiethoofd was in two minds. He was like, oh, I need to kill this guy who's spamming at me, but I also have a crits charge on me and I need to get a kill, and he just got caught in two minds. Sprayer somehow lived that, but, you know, they didn't have the point. They didn't get any significant picks out of it. And then CJ could just walk forward, clean up with the rest of his team with the stock Uber charge.
I feel like they didn't have this much of an idea. Like, I mean, obviously they didn't play to their fullest potential as well on the WASP side, on Galleywash, but I feel like they could do way more with rotations than here, because if you actually look at the logs, like, I have to say it's really painful, because the first thing that sticks out to me is 803 heals per minute on Sprayer, you know, on a map, on a like tightly knit map where everyone is just going weak constantly, and you're a medic in Highlander, you have 8 other people to heal, but it just says he was alone. So, like, much, I mean, CJ also has kind of like low heals considering this is Highlander, but I'm not looking at deaths right now. Maybe they were just down a lot, but what I'm just seeing first is, as a former spy main, or still like semi-spy main, I would say. I mean, I don't even play this game, but it doesn't matter. You can make post-factual comments that make you look good, but Gamma. First two players, first two top-ranking players. What are these players playing at? Pick classes, amazing.
Yes, of course, Birdie, 33 kills. Like, that is insane. Absolutely insane. Clearly wasn't pressured enough from the WASP flank. And that's something that's easy enough to do on Wormtic, There's plenty of flank routes. The skies are open for soldiers. If you're getting destroyed by a sniper, you need to be saying to your flank, look, can you get on him, please? And they clearly didn't do it. And then you look at Mezzo, 30 kills as well. I'd have to wonder if that maybe had something to do with the lack of Uber charge. He might have been getting a few kills in those crits, post crits cleanup as well. But something's wrong when your enemy pick classes have got 63 kills between them.
I mean, if you just look at the just quickly look at these, as we talked about them, the both pick classes, what they focused on: 7 frags onto Wiethoofd on the side of Birdie, and 5 times Mezzo killing the demo man, and after that.
Ooh, I think Domaytoe's mic has died on him there, but I think what he was going to say was Birdie and Mezzo, the two of them each had 7 kills onto Morg as well. And even though Morg was doing heavy work, like 26 kills, it's pretty nice from a sniper. You know that it was clearly something that Open Squad had decided to do. 14 kills from pick classes onto the enemy sniper. And it really shows in what Morg was able to do. He was really limited. And he just had some issues finding space, really, I think, more than anything else. Pressured a little bit more. There was some really big bombs justice as well. Domaytoe, are you there? Perhaps not. His mic may still be having issues. But again, another interesting thing, actually, on the story of Birdie getting 33 frags. He took 11% heals, mightn't have been using the Razorback, whereas Morg only got 900 heals, which is,
Hello, am I hearable?
You are hearable, indeed. I was just talking about how Birdie got significantly more heals than Morg, and whether that has anything to do with the fact that Birdie completely dominated him in the sniper battle. Ooh, we may still be having technical issues. Oh well, I suppose we've talked a good bit about what both teams have done, and I suppose both matches were complete murder fests. But from myself, from Domaytoe, Foppish on camera, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope you were entertained. Join us again for the next match.
I'm sorry. It died, kind of. Yeah, nice wrap up. Sorry. Goodbye. From me as well.